So the Gamer dropped an article yesterday, and honestly it was not one that I was going to dignify with a response because it was really pathetic and sad, but after reading through it, I thought this might just be the dumbest article in all of game journalism I have ever read. And it is so deliciously atrocious in how pandering, pedantic, condescending, sardonic, and any other word that you can think of that's meaningless platitudes. I had to share it with you guys and hopefully reach some individuals who probably never watched the channel before so that they have an idea of what we're actually talking about when we talk about the just glorious fall of game journalism. So welcome back to Words of Paradise. I'm your host, Leon Idle, and from the Gamer, I present to you, I'm personally going to force game companies to put in all that stuff you hate. From the title alone, you could tell this is obviously going to be a very millennial humor-driven article that is sort of a satire on what they think of the DEI woke culture versus the anti-woke YouTuber crowd. The problem is that it's not funny. It's an anti-comedy. It's like a so bad it's good B horror movie. So we're going to go through this article. Before we do, hit that subscribe button because I'm a nerdy news channel. I cover nerdy news every day. And this is some of my favorite news because this news is undisputable proof that their industry is dying and that these are the last gasping breaths of a journalist who knows their job is on the line. I heard you're not too happy with games lately. You've been let down by decisions by video game developers that you find outrageous. Assassin's Creed has been ruined for you because a historical figure you weren't expecting. Paper Mario clarified that yes, there is in fact a trans character. And worst of all, the new Perfect Dark trailer features a camera shot of a woman taken from below rather than above. This is the tone for the whole article. Now, a lot of times these millennial writers will, set up an article with this level of tone, and then they will go into, reporting their spin on information. Not really facts, but their spin on information. But they'll tone it down to actually start giving semi-legitimate information. This entire article, from start to finish, is just one long rant written in this same tone, as if he's doing some weird role play with his therapist about all the angry YouTubers, who have been making videos and frankly, oftentimes making bank off of repurposing their content to something actually digestible by normal people. It's a nightmare out there. Up is down, red is blue. Clearly, trying to copy off the Ghostbusters. Cats and dogs living together. But again, not as funny as Ghostbusters. Bill Murray, this author, is not. You just want the crazy train to stop. And that's too bad, because I'm personally going to force game companies put in all that stuff you hate. No, I'm not a consulting company. I'm not associated with one either. According to YouTubers that only use massive fonts, again, consulting companies are the most powerful force on the earth, filled with evil teens who have the ability, the power, and the right to change any aspect of the game they want immediately. But that won't stop me. I may be alone, but I'm going to call up every game company and make sure they add those things to make your face red while you still sit on a little speed racer gaming chair. I use an office chair, like an adult. I also have a real job where I work in IT and fix servers, but I doubt you know anything about Linux, so I'll just move on. I'm already convinced a lot of them to do stuff on my list. They asked me, but aren't real gamers going to be mad? And I said, real gamers are bad, just the way those YouTube videos seem to think people talk. Again, we're going to go through more of this, but I want to get some initial thoughts out of the way. When I said this reads like just the angry frustrations and venting of an individual, that's because that's what when you are in an argument with somebody, whether it be your best friend, significant other, spouse, coworker, whatnot, there gets to be a level of the argument where you argue for so long that you become a petulant child. Both sides of the aisle obviously have been guilty of this in the past. I know I have. I know other YouTubers in my space have. But the other side does it far more egregiously because when they do it in the written word, they can try and pass it off as, oh, this is just a clever writing choice, a clever writing tactic. when this is how they actually think. Yeah, he's using, I say he, obviously the name of the author is a male name, Mike Drucker, but, well, we know how all these game journalists work. Carolyn Petit is a dude, even though that's a guy's name, so for all I know, this could actually be a she, just, cosplaying as a male. But the fact of the matter, what this guy is doing is that he is using this sort of inflammatory hyperbole, this very exaggerated language to try and prove a point without being self-aware enough to realize that there actually might be a way to write this article and smear the anti-woke side of YouTube in a way that doesn't make you come off like an upset, petulant child. Because so far, we're, how many paragraphs in? 1, 2, 3, 4 paragraphs, and he hasn't really made a point. It's just been constant sarcasm, using hyperbolic examples of things that the vast majority of individuals on this side of YouTube doesn't actually do. And he continues to make it worse. So if the gamer had any credibility left, the guy just sort of soured it, especially after going on Twitter and talking about it as if it's the most amazing thing ever, promoting this article. I wrote it about how I'm personally going to force the game companies to put in all the stuff you hate, and is getting, not a whole lot of love for it. I mean, apparently someone that has blotted me or I blot has something to say. No offense, but don't you have college loans to pay back? I hope you don't have college loans to pay back for this. Nerdboreal Lifeform, leave those billion dollar companies alone, you funny person. Leave my Super Mario Brothers and Nintendos, you Bard Spooner, you. Go pick on a medium your own size. I'm struggling tonight because I'm just so baffled at this article. Excuse me, I sit in an office chair and that's what I said. I sit in an office chair. I promise you, I hadn't gone through these comments yet. You think I'm joking? Every hour on the hour, I force a game designer to say, he's quoting something from the article. People are just being so desensitizedly sarcastic in the replies. Of course, I get where you're coming from. Games like Contra and Castlevania, those are games for men that we played when we were little boys. When you were growing up, games were for you. And they should still be for you. Well, technically, yes, because haven't you guys been saying that games are for everyone? So if games are in fact for everyone, as they've always been, wouldn't that also still include the people throwing a fit about them, the real gamers who actually spend money and play these games? I'm just trying to figure out where the line is, because you've already sort of blown a hole in your own logic based on your previous career and what individuals on your side of the industry are saying. But I'll give you a chance to reel me back in. Spoiler alert, I've already read this article. He doesn't. Just you and people who share certain specific traits with. You know the traits. You'll figure it out. Right. The traits of being straight and white and male and any other traits that you want to attribute to all of us that, frankly, several people don't actually fit. For example, I'm white. Mugen Lord isn't. I'm straight. Well, okay. For any of you guys that have seen me on Saturday Night Hypnosis, it becomes up for debate when you heard my Blair White comments. Fact of the matter is, I'm male. Classic Cage isn't. Gothix is not straight, nor white, nor male, from what I've heard. Fact of the matter is, there are a whole lot of individuals in the gaming space that are covering the sort of stuff we're covering. But you don't want to draw attention to it unless it is the straight white male individuals, because that's the very easy, I won't want to say easy target, but it's a very easy caricature to draw, because then you can not have to worry about the outliers or the individuals who have superficial characteristics that you typically align yourself with. Oh, Mugen Lord is a black dude. Well, I can't say anything disparaging about him, otherwise my allyship to the Black Lives Matter movement will be called into question. Classic Cage is she's a half Puerto Rican tomboy who very much looks like a dyke. Definitely can't be calling her out, because once again, that could get me in trouble with the LGBTQIA plus mafia, despite the fact that Cassie is not actually, gay or anything to that effect. Gothix is, again, black, female, and gay, and you definitely can't be calling her out. So no, you go for Hypnotic or Smash JT or Grums or myself or Will of the Fans or any of us that were on Alyssa Mercanti's little hit list. But it's so strange to me, because thus far, I still don't know what the point of this article is. That's who games are actually for. That was never who games were actually for. It's funny, because so many of the best games of all time are made in Asia. So by accounts, we should really be saying, hey, make games for Asian people. the rest of the world just seems to fucking love them because, I mean, that's what they, I mean, JRPGs, there's a reason the J is in front, you know, Japanese, clearly made for Japanese individuals, and Nintendo, Japanese company, Sonic the Hedgehog, Resident Evil, Street Fighter, I mean, I could go on and on, all these Japanese games that have just become massive successes. When people think of video games, the vast majority of the highest caliber, top tier video games were in fact made in Japan. So my want is for these companies to actually make games that cater to Japanese people, because we know we're probably going to get quality. The Japanese seem to have a good idea of what is actually quality gaming. That is until I called up Rockstar and said, you better make it so players can only win Grand Theft Auto 6 if they read the works of Gloria Anzaldúa. They said, oh my god, we were going to make the game go big vroom, big boom, but now we've decided to put in all the stuff angry people online hate because you forced us. What will you be angry about next? Who knows? You might be wondering what stuff you hate is making its way into games. That's the fun part. Apparently you don't know what you hate until you see it. Homie is talking like Gamergate wasn't 10 years ago, and we've been having this same discussion for a decade now. There are people that were in the 4th grade when all this stuff started going down, when you know, the Gamergate went down, that have now graduated high school and could be into college. What do you mean when you say we don't know what we hate until we see it? It hasn't really changed in 10 years. Yeah, some terminology may have changed, or yeah, some decisions may have gotten even more egregious, but no, it's just been the same festering conversation where we've been trading players and pieces of each side like a game of chess. But again, you can't have that narrative out there because you need your audience to think this is some new thing, that this culture war, this war on gaming is new, because it distracts from the layoffs. It distracts from the fact that games have been flopping lately. It distracts from the fact that the Game Awards had the viewership had a bunch of hate in the chat when we saw the most recent State of Play event and they showed Concord. The chat was spamming L. I mean, literally almost every single chat with 500,000 people watching live. It was just L's down the board because real gamers are upset at the state of gaming. But if gamers are upset at the state of gaming and the industry starts to falter, as it has, as we're seeing in real time, that puts your job at risk. That puts you at risk. That puts your livelihood at risk. That puts the food in your family's mouths at risk. That, most importantly, puts the narrative at risk. So you have to find a way to vent your frustrations and find a target. Find some sort of, just ethereal boogeyman that you can blame. So the straight white male angry YouTube crowd that uses all capital letters in their thumbnails are the best you can do. Now, I know how much you guys love your World War II comparisons. I know how much you like to call those of us on this side of the aisle Nazis and whatnot. But it's ironic because last I recall, during World War II, the Jews didn't do anything wrong. But the Nazis did use them as a scapegoat for massive blame about the state of the German economy. So in all reality, you're acting more like the Nazis in this scenario than the ones you label as such because you were trying to make a scapegoat out of a customer base. But buddy, after you see it, you treat it like you've known about it forever and it's the biggest scandal the gaming world has ever experienced. You were just trying to enjoy games, right? You're the target audience, not these tourists who apparently put more of their time, money, energy, and professional talent into games than you. Do you now? Do you put more of your time, money, energy, and professional talent into games? Because if that was the case, why did why did that Zal game flop? Why did Final Fantasy VII Rebirth sell far below expectations? Those are just two off the top of my head. Why did Hogwarts Legacy, a game that our side of the aisle was championing, become the second highest selling game of all of 2023 after Pow World, which technically isn't even a finished game. That was an early access. So Hogwarts Legacy was the highest selling game in 2023. Stellar Blade. Stellar Blade was a rallying cry and something that real gamers championed. And so far has just done gangbusters throughout the course of the year. There's been so many flops in the video game space, and yet you want to say that you put your time, money, and energy into this stuff? Why? How have you been putting your money into the gaming industry? Because if I just Google video game flops of 2024... Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League right out on top. Skull and Bones, another AAA game, has reportedly failed, when in all reality they're touting it as the very first quadruple A game. Mandalorian project was canceled by Blizzard. Deus Ex was canceled in 2024. So if you guys are really putting your time, money, and energy into this, and you are the majority, then why aren't these games successful? Why did Embracer Group just shut down the name of that studio that I'm blanking on off the top of my head? Like, we've seen massive layoffs in the industry, and it's because there's no return on investment, because people are really over 99% of games right now. Now, of course, you got your Dragon's Dogma 2s, you got your Street Fighter 6s, you got, frankly, any big budget game that Capcom released, now that I think about it, that are dominating. But those become the exception, not the rule, when you look at 2023 and 2024. But cheer up, you'll be happy to know that I emailed EA now. The new college football game is just a graduate-level film course where we both watch adaptations of Brideshead Revisited. EA's hands are tied. As long as it's a feature that will make real fans super mad, a billion-dollar company must agree to it by law. They just have things. They just have to put things you hate in the game if they're told. Yeah, this goes on. I'm not reading all this. Look how many more paragraphs. It doesn't stop. I will read the last one, because how many were left? Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 more paragraphs of this incessant bitching and moaning under the guise of enlightened writing as a joke, as satire. And that person is going to be me. I'm personally going to add what you hate. Just me. The game companies don't want it, but I'm making them. I'm making them do woke changes so much they're crying at their desks, and I've loved every second of it. Want to test me? Fine. All crafting games now only allow you to cook soy-based soft foods. You're welcome. Well, first of all, as a cook, as somebody that loves cooking, is my favorite hobby of all time. No, we need more soy foods in video games. There's some really great soy recipes. No, I'm joking. That sounds atrocious. But no, what we're witnessing here, this is the most important part. This is a great article. I unironically love this article because it proves one very important thing. That we are winning. That our side is the side. And when I say our side, I don't mean anti-woke YouTubers. I don't mean Republicans or right-wingers. I mean real nerds are winning. Because why else would an article like this exist? You wouldn't need to make an article trying to, in comedy, they're all about, hey, you shouldn't punch down. No punching down. You have to punch up. If we were such a small minority of individuals that couldn't make a difference, that aren't impacting anything, then this article wouldn't need to exist. No. In fact, it goes against the very ethos these leftists have and these ideological midwits have. It goes against their idea that punching down, you should never do that. That must mean they're punching up. Which does mean we are the ones at the top, that we are the ones winning, that we are the ones in control, that we are getting what we want. When you see Stellar Blade's existence, censored as it may have been, the fact that it symbolized what it symbolized was massive. When Tomb Raider came out, the Tomb Raider Remastered trilogy, and they didn't have any censorship, and they sold like hotcakes, and then censorship happened, and they got review bombed into oblivion until the company came out and said, hey, that was a mistake, there was a coding error, and they fixed it. It goes to show that we're winning. When classic games are getting revisited, that means we're winning. When Sun Wukong, when Black Myth Wukong has been put on blast by the shill media, like these websites, for not including these consulting companies and for supposedly being sexist years ago or something, I don't know, that means we're winning. And they know it. That's why they have to write these articles. That's why they need to write these umpteen fucking paragraph long articles being some weird in character Groucho Marx, like so whatever the most sardonic, egotistical, maniacal individual you can think of. And maybe he's not playing a character. Maybe this is how he actually types. And if that's the case, you would probably be the most insufferable person to be around in real life. But I'm not angry about it. I love this article because its existence purely confirms that they are worried. If gaming is allowed to continue in the route it's on, the route of us as the fans, as the paying customers, actually getting what we want and actually being able to be happy about games again, there's so many games that were announced at Summer Game Fest that looked awesome. I am getting several games. I'm normally very against day one games, but Sonic X Shadows Generation and Dragon Ball Sparking Zero are literal day one purchases for me because I'm very excited for these projects. I'm a massive Sonic the Hedgehog fan. I'm a massive Dragon Ball fan. I've been playing Fallout 76 every day for the last month. It just got a free DLC map expansion that I've been playing every night the last like 4 or 5 nights, however long it's been out. When gamers are happy with gaming, they do talk about it. We talk about it a lot. We love it. There's so much to be upset about lately. And the idea of what to be upset about is spreading to people that maybe weren't around in 2014. Because I said it's been 10 years this has been going on. But it's been 10 years of us slowly gaining ground. And now we've gained enough ground that they are terrified. And they have to write these weird hit piece articles on entire gaming subcultures. You know, the little tiny subculture of gamers themselves. The people that, you know, have kept the industry going and made it the largest money-making entertainment industry in the world. How does that come off as anything other than fear? And you love to see it. But those are just my opinions. Let me know yours in the comments down below, or let me know on X, where you can find me at Bolt the Word. And please do subscribe. I am a nerdy news channel. I bring you nerdy news every day. Not always about the video game scene, but anime, movies, music, Magic the Gathering, you name it. It is all here in the nerdosphere. This has been Words of Paradise.